You still got it.
I think I want to come to these areas, it's still, I think I was very, let's say, deeply processing the concept when you bring in the idea of autonomy to the restaurant, or let's say the manual, for examples. I think autonomy there's a problem here in autonomy, because the autonomy is self-governing, self-sovereignty, self-ruler. You could call it like self-dictator. In a simple dimensions. Meaning that
that's an interesting thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
meaning that even the mail that available, you have a questions in that mails. Why this has have to be existed? I need to come and make my own mail in the restaurant. That's the autonomy existed in that context. If you speak,
I don't want to have this ingredient in this meal, right?
Exactly. You have a problem even why the restaurant has to be existed here. So you might think about the process of restaurant existed and the process of the meal that are made, and why the owner have to do it like that, because autonomy is about selfing. You imposing yourself to the context of those products that are available. So it's not about it's kind of like, for me, generally speaking, again, is that autonomy is a kind of modern version of understanding the human self, meaning that capacity of having knowledge and ideas and information that help you, for example, to make a good choices. So do those good choices primarily are existed before we come and see them. For example, the option that existed in a restaurant, the meal type that existed in autonomy levels, is that you have a question with the availability, even if by the definition of economically they existed by the restaurant owner, for example. You have a question with them. You have a point that you're saying that why this have to be existed. You might think I need a different cuisine for example. Why this cuisine naturally existed every day in this meal, and sorry, in this restaurant. So autonomy there's a problem here in autonomy.
But I'm like, isn't that like conflicting between autonomy and freedom? Because like, okay, I have
for me,
right, okay, so I have a restaurant. I exercise my autonomy to make my restaurant work. So I make the menus, I offer the meals and everything, and I give people the freedom to choose. They have their autonomy. They can reject the whole thing. They can say, no, I'm not going to eat in your restaurant because you're not offering me what I want.
Yeah.
And they have the freedom to go choose what they want. But when they come to my restaurant and say, no, I want to have this ingredient in this restaurant, is it not like taking their self-governing or self-sovereignty, as I said, and exercising it on me as an individual who's just exercising his self-autonomy? Isn't that like a conflict?
It's obviously is a conflicting concepts. That's why I said there is a clear fragmentation between the freedom and the autonomy. They are not the same context. For example, if let's say extended the idea, for example, freedom, in my general terms, this is a very open word that expresses the human choices, availability of the choices. I still disagree about the maximization. Many options have to be existed, the multiplicity of the options that have to be there.
To what extent?
For me, what I'm saying is that it's not about having many options. It's about what option that you have, for example, the way you mastering that option to implement whatever you want to do. For example, I have an option to be, let's say, an engineer, or I have an option to study this field, for example. Okay, so you get the option now, so you get access to that college or department or faculty, and now the capacity you're mastering that faculty that's the way I would define the option in being mastered or not. So that's the way I'm saying that if human came to the point of necessarily there have to be many choices in everything. All right, someone is very killer. So people say, so this is the human choices. People can kill and do whatever they like it to do. I think this will put another very complex, let's say, the context to the life. And the other dimension is that the autonomy never saying, okay?
No, okay.
All right. Autonomy is never saying that that like it's about I have a choice only in that context. It's about I have a choice, even I have to master that choice. Like I have to govern the choice. Nobody let's say point me, like even in a department, I have a choice to attend the lecture of a professor or not. That's autonomy will decide, because it's self-governing to the department that I have chosen, for example. Autonomy is somehow is a problem here, because saying rules are made by myself, the time is all options are being made here. They are not available existing choice from the external forces. They are available existing choices from the internal force of the self, which is the absolutely self-aggrandizement or selfishness. That's the concept.
So are you saying autonomy is bad?
Yeah, I think like we can go there to reach, but I don't want to make conclusion to say autonomy is bad or not bad. I think the way you master those choices, for example, by definition, to say we human, do we have a clear path for what is meant to be good? For example, I would say good is not collectively being defined or objectively. So meaning that it became more on the personally there and communally and socially different. So in that context, if there are paths or rules or process to say like this is the way we to master good or the humanity or to be humane in that context, for example, I think I would say yeah, okay, good, but it's all about mastering the choices that you have by moral guidance and moral instruction and ethical ways, I guess.
Okay, Roberto, do you see a conflict between freedom and autonomy? Is there a conflict?
No.
No.
I think that I will try to put it simple again.
Sure.
Because I know that you are intellectual people, but not all the public necessarily
True. Okay.
Goes in that direction. But I mean, not necessarily I disagree with what Omar said. For example, about the many options or only a few options. I think there are moments in life or there are times in which we can have only two options. Does it mean that there is no freedom there? No. But still, I mean, the illustration, not a perfect illustration, but my way of presenting freedom, now you made me realize that it was more in a direction of freedom of choice, not like the broad concept of freedom. But still, my illustration will put autonomy actually in a sense in which I need the options to execute or to what is
To
the word?
exercise my autonomy?
my autonomy are needed the options. I never said many options or a few options, but if the if there is a limitation of the options in which I am not allowed to decide to probably I need to illustrate it again.
Right.
Maybe the options that are presented in the menu are only, I don't know, for male. I don't know.
I see.
On the example of the dictator. The options that are presented
are only for men.
Yes.
Okay.
There are options. Yes, there are options. Is there a limitation in the freedom of choice or the freedom? I would say yes. Autonomy. Should I decide by the definition that you gave was self-governance?
Yeah.
Actually,
legislation is better.
Actually, it comes from the Greek words auto and nomos, which
self.
Exactly, and governance,
Right,
or ruling,
Okay.
and I think is part, not the same concept, definitely, I agree. Not a conflict between freedom and autonomy, but maybe which are the elements which make me to make a decision. For example, I don't know, I am a vegetarian, and this is the truth. Okay, according to my principles, I can choose this option, this other option, or or things like that. Maybe I am forced to it by my father. Okay, no, you need to eat such and such and such thing. Are there options? Okay, maybe they are limited. My decision is still affected by others. Sometimes I am not forced, but there is pressure. Maybe there are other agents that can compromise my decision by the self-governance or the autonomy. I can say, okay, no, according to my values and my principles, I decide this. So I don't, I decide for myself what is the correct or what I want or the choice that I am going to make.
I think